Homeschool moms, and happy new year from the Homeschool Well podcast. This is Kim and Jenny here with you today.
Hello.
It's the very first Wednesday in 2026. Oh my goodness, it's so fun to be back. We took a little break. We hope you had a nice holiday, and we are hitting you with some great information for the whole month of January about having a gentle reset.
Yes.
I love
And
that.
refreshing. Yes.
This whole month, we'll have topics about healing, hope, and help for you, homeschool mom, especially if you're one of those moms, like I was and Jenny was too, who chose homeschooling after your child was misunderstood or mistreated, maybe left behind, or just not vibing with their educational situation. And it was one where you just decided, that's it. We're not finishing out this school year. We're going to have a fresh start. And when you're homeschooling and you want to follow Jesus's plans, the enemy can get in your head a lot, I think, when you have that kind of like abrupt change.
Mm.
And so today we're really going to speak to some of the things that we went through
Mm.
and give you some action steps and mindset, and of course, a powerful bit of scripture to undo any negativity that came from that situation. Trauma, sometimes, I
Mhm.
don't know, sometimes it can be a traumatic
Mm.
situation. We just want to bring you some healing words, some hopeful words, and some specific helps.
And Kim, it's so funny when you were talking about all of this, I was thinking about when my child was in public school and then we were in a hybrid school, and I would constantly come to you with all these problems we were having. And you're always like, Jenny, don't worry about it. You can do it. You can homeschool them yourself. You can do this. You can do that. And I was so grateful for you for all of those times and having like a community of encouraging people around me that could speak life into me because I was constantly doubting everything. I was doubting public school and I was doubting homeschooling. It was all the things. So there's a lot that homeschool moms deal with in our minds, and it's constant
Yeah.
doubt, constant thinking that you're doing it wrong. I mean, I'm in these homeschool groups on Facebook, and all these people are like, I'm so scared I'm failing my child. Like everyone says that in every single group I'm in. And we've worked with so many homeschool moms, and we've seen so many traumatic situations where a child is being mistreated, and especially when they're special needs children or autistic and they can't verbalize and the parents don't actually know what's happening in school. And so there's
Mm,
so many
yeah.
situations, and I'm not saying every public school is bad. I'm not saying that at all. But there's just a lot of situations that we've heard with all of the moms that we talk to and come in contact with and that are in our community who have had a lot of pain with their child in different educational settings. Both of us have our own stories of things not working and then doubting ourselves too. I think a lot of moms fear like being misunderstood or mislabeled and having their children being misunderstood and mislabeled, and that's why they had to pull them out. It's really hurtful when people hurt your child, the mama bear comes out and it just makes you like, this isn't working. I got to figure out something else. And then that's when the doubt comes in. I was grateful for my support with Kim that she gave me. And I know I've told this before, he did not fit in the box in public school. And so in second grade, I ended up taking him out. And I should have taken him out earlier. So here's my mom guilt about that. I should have taken him out in second grade, but I let him finish the year out. But there was one point, second semester, second grade, where his teacher sent him to the office, my oldest child, for losing his work. Okay. And he went to a big public school. He had had issues like with self control. He was labeled ADHD later in life. After he turned 18, he asked to go get testing and all this. But these were the reasons I pulled him out. But he ended up getting sent to the office, and I was getting a lot of phone calls home. But she finally, like his teacher finally lost it and sent him to the office for losing his work. And I was like, you've clearly lost, all hope for this kid. If, he didn't hurt someone, he didn't punch him, he didn't try to start a fire in the school or anything like that. Like he only lost his work, and she flipped out and was done with him. So That whole year of him being in 2nd grade, I just felt he was totally misunderstood, and, it wasn't a good,
Setting.
yeah, setting for him. He did not fit in that
Yes.
educational box. It made me feel bad as a parent, but then once I took him out, that was a whole new can of worms because that's when I didn't know what I was doing and the doubt set in.
Now it's like you're the target,
Yeah,
right? You take your kid out and
right,
you're like, that
right,
school couldn't serve him right.
right.
And then you take him home and you're like, dang it, what am I
Yeah,
doing?
and people are looking at you, and I was a public school teacher, so people were looking at me like, "What is wrong with you? Why wouldn't you leave your kid in a public school? Your child goes to a very good public school, Jenny. That school is awesome. Why in the
It was
world would you
good.
lose your spot and take him
Hey,
out and all this stuff, right?"
I don't I don't know that we've ever made this connection on the
What?
show, but you do remember that I taught
Oh, yeah.
in
I
that
know.
classroom. I was a co-teacher in that classroom where he had
Yeah.
been a student like 3 years
Yeah.
earlier or something, and it was the same teacher in the same, like, pod of how they have, like, teachers in pods and,
Right.
just the same, like, structured, hardcore
Yeah.
testing, accountability, we gotta keep up with all the Common Core stuff, and I had taught Forrest a lot at church and, all of our
Yeah.
kids, but I remember, yeah, when you went to the hybrid school, it was an extension of that because before you
Right.
homeschooled full time,
Yeah. We
you
had
did this
this,
hybrid school.
yes.
So that's why I was able, I think, to speak so much
Right.
into what you were experiencing because you were still under this accountability
Sure,
umbrella.
in the hybrid school also. Yeah. Mhm.
Yes, and that wasn't a good
That
fit for
wasn't
him,
either.
and that's
Yeah, we
okay.
tried a
Right, and
lot of
that's
things.
okay. Right? This is what we're
Yeah.
doing. We're saying to you, mom, is we're validating the fact that it is okay to feel all these things and
Right.
realize the truth. You're not imagining it.
No.
If things aren't a good fit for your school or for your kiddo, it doesn't matter what kind of school people are telling you that you shouldn't take them out of because that's the same
Right.
thing for
Right.
Wyatt. He went to a magnet school that everybody wanted to get into. It was such a waiting list, and but he wasn't thriving. It
Right.
was just too
Yeah.
much, and that same kind of test mindset,
Mhm.
it was just, even though it had an amazing learning experience program,
Mhm.
a rich learning experience, the veterinary tech, animals and all these things, the deeper he got into it, it was just not a good fit for him,
Right.
and I'm talking about he went to have an internship at the animal rescue place, and when he started that, he was like, this is not what I want to
Yeah.
do, and so it was like we had to make a decision before those report cards came out, or
Right.
it would have messed up his GPA
Right.
totally.
Yeah.
And that was another thing where I was
Yes.
like, yeah, if you don't do it, you're going to sit with these grades that are bad on your report card.
Mhm.
And like, do you want to try to, you know, get back into it? Because the first 2 years he was a straight A student.
Mhm.
But it's okay if your kid comes to a point where they're like, oh, I actually don't like
Right.
this. Who am I doing this
Right.
for? Why am I doing this? So the school can get an
Right.
A, like that's what they tell you. We need an A. You have to put
Yeah.
like their grading system, right? For the
Right.
county. You have to like get a good grade on this test or whatever. We're just still in this healing section where I think it's the validation
Mhm.
that's important
Yeah.
to really be able to help your kid identify that too. And I feel like I haven't done a good enough job sometimes with my boy in that because it was a hard leave for him.
Yeah.
He took a long time, like a year to really, or more, to really decide, okay, like I really don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah.
But when you have, my boy was in high school, Jenny's boy was
2nd grade.
in,
Yeah.
right. And so those are two different
Right.
processes. Just listen to yourself, talk to your husband, have conversations with the people at school, and know that you're not imagining things and you're not failing your child.
Yes.
Nothing is forever either.
Yeah.
Jenny and I have both had our kids homeschooled. She's had hers hybrid schooled. They've gone back to public
Mhm.
school. They've gone to vocational college, to university college. There's a season for everything. And just because you make one decision right then,
Mhm.
it's not gonna, like, stay with you forever and label you forever,
Right.
Try to keep this mindset of hope,
Exactly.
and I think this is a good segue to the next
Yeah, that we
section,
wanna
right?
talk about is, yeah,
Where
hope.
is our
That's
hope?
exactly right.
Yeah. For those of us who do have an identity in Jesus, as our Savior, our hope is in the Lord, and we hope for our kids and we hope for your kids that their identity is in
Mhm.
Jesus and that they understand that his plans are better and that he sees them and he sees you fully and clearly. And this is where we were led to share Psalm 139:16. It's so good. And I'm just going to read it from the New International Version. Psalm 139:16. Your eyes saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be. There's some scripture reminding us that God knew this child before any classroom ever did, before any teacher ever did, before you, their first teacher, ever
Yeah.
did. And if that's not encouraging and like,
Yeah.
right, a load off your back to give you hope, like constantly be praying for just your child and for you to be able to keep that thought in mind that God knows the best plan
Mm.
and he's opening doors that need to be opened and shutting doors that need to be closed, and that we will be able to hear that, see that, listen to him, and just constantly be able, I think, to have a relationship with God and Jesus and be able to talk that out, you know what
Yeah.
I mean, for us and for our kids. Like that's where you're going to, I think, find the best healing
Yeah.
and then be lifted up in the hope that, oh, God knows everything anyway. So let's just constantly go back to him.
Right. And I think
Yeah.
also hope in just so many people doing homeschooling too. I mean, our ultimate hope is in the Lord,
Yeah.
but sometimes we isolate ourselves so much we have no idea what's going on. I was just listening to something on X today, actually, right before this, and they were talking about all the numbers of homeschoolers from the 80s
Oh,
until
wow.
now. And I think they said it like in the 2020s, it's up to like 5 million or something. And it started out as
Yeah.
13,000 or something in 80 something. And so just
It's amazing
knowing that
growth.
there are millions of people just like you're
Yeah.
a little different than you, but kind of like you, right? Doing the same thing. And Kim, you and I have talked about this before. The first time we ever went to the Florida Homeschool Convention, all of a sudden you realize there's thousands of people that are just like you at this
Yeah.
place, and you thought you were kind of this little island, like isolated.
That's what Anastasia said to
Yeah,
me. The first year we went and she was in, I think, second grade. And I remember going up the escalator to the second floor, so crowded before we even got in the vending
yeah,
hall. And she turned around and was like, oh, I didn't know all these people homeschool. And I'm like, wow, either did I.
yeah.
And Jenny, I just registered my boy for graduation. The hotel rooms sold out within like 36 hours
At the Florida Convention.
at the FPEA convention, but it is like every year growing more and more. And then if you include all of these different alternative schooling methods,
Yeah,
like private schools that have hybrids or micro schools, I mean, there's just so many options
right.
now. Seek out
Yeah.
community,
So
whatever you're
so you
choosing.
have
Yeah.
options.
And you get help and
Right,
support and
right.
prayer. Prayer,
Oh,
right?
totally.
Battle prayer. I just posted that. I posted that
Yeah.
battle prayer this week because
Yes, I saw that.
I need it and I need the moms in our community to, pray for me, but they probably need it too.
Yes.
And you're not late in God's plan, for your child.
Yeah. You're right on
I
time.
his timing, yes, his timing is
Mhm,
perfect and it always will be.
mhm.
Let's talk about some helpful ways now that they can start every day gently and healing and hope. How can they apply these ideas to their day? What's the first idea,
Yeah,
Jen?
so we have 3 tips to help you start your January gently. The first tip is to begin with relationship before you hit the books. Start your day connecting with your child. And that might be with prayer in the morning. Some mornings I used to go in and rub my son's back and pray for him just to kind of connect real quick. He loved to have his back rub. Even in high school, he still loves to have his back rub. Just praying over your kid, connecting with them, starting slow. This is not public school. You don't have to run out the door or feel like you got to get everyone together and stress and hurry up and eat. And we got to get started. Like you don't need to feel that way. So taking time to connect with your kids and form a relationship with them every day. Maybe you start your day with a read aloud or reading scripture or a devotion with your breakfast. Not that you have to cook a big breakfast every day, but even if you had some frozen waffles and put a squirt of whipped cream on the top, right? And your kids love that, then that's one way you can connect with them, talk with them, and start the day slow. I was thinking that one of the ways with my boys that I was able to really want still to connect with them is through food. When they were little, it was like
Yeah.
either feeding them something amazing, they loved it, and it was like, "Oh, mom," or doing something with them, jumping on a trampoline or going for a bike ride or something like that, before we hit the books that day. That's one tip.
That.
For sure.
All right, I'm going to do the second one. It's choose one must do per
Mhm.
day. So I know this sounds counterintuitive, but this is gentle January, okay? One academic goal will give you guys confidence in going forward instead of overwhelm, especially if they've just come from an educational setting where it's been very burdensome. And that should be, I'm going to say this, should be their strength. Like, start with their strength,
Sure.
with something that's
Right.
easy. If you're just starting homeschooling for the first time here in January, do
Start out
not
right.
go into, yes, because you're going to have so many more issues than academics, than teaching,
Right.
to deal with. Like, if it's the first time they've ever been taught at home, there's so many distractions,
Mhm.
right? So start with an academic goal that is their strength. And that's like, okay, we have to get this one thing done today. You can talk to them about
Yeah.
that. And then maybe there's a surprise or like a carrot that you can dangle after that to get them motivated, then to move on in the coming weeks or next week, to something that is more academically challenging.
Right.
But, if you take your kid who had reading struggles, in a burdensome educational setting, you start homeschooling and bam, right out of the gate, you're trying to jam that reading down their throat. We have a mom in our community who did that, and she just like never let up even over the holidays. And this year she learned differently. Oh man, that was like, what is it called, biting your nose to spite your
Yeah.
face or
Right.
something.
Yeah. Whatever it is. Yeah.
Don't do that. Start with one must do per day that is their strength, and then build on that as you have dealt with the other issues that, as you have success with that one must do. Does that make
Yeah. That's
sense?
good advice.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And the third way is to build in emotional margin for my high schooler. This is so hard because, he's graduating, and the pacing in high school,
Yeah.
right, should be
Intense,
like
right?
really high
Mhm.
level, really intense, really high level. He should be able to self motivate. He should be able to be independent. All these shoulds
Mhm.
hang over me like a dark cloud because he's not there right now
Mhm.
emotionally.
Mhm.
So I have created, and I could always be better at this, short lessons. And you guys, I'm talking about a senior in high
Mhm.
school here. Okay. It's okay because this is where he's at.
Mhm.
And I'm meeting him in this emotional, margin that he has right now. Short lessons, movement breaks. Before he even got started today, I heard him say to his sister, I'm going to go outside and lay in the sun. Because
That's
honestly,
awesome.
that's one of his goals, like for vitamin D. And I didn't say, oh, no, you're not. You're going to get your butt in there and work. And, I mean, my flesh wanted to say
Right.
that because, like, you guys, there's a lot of stuff that he needs to do. But I have modified and let him add these things in. Flexible start times, also.
Mhm.
Like, you might want to, set that alarm for 8
Yeah.
a.m. when you knew the public school started. But I'm telling you, you will be shooting yourself in the foot if that's something that your kid wakes up and is like, oh gosh, it's like the same
Right.
thing, right? Like, be
Mhm.
flexible if that start time that was similar to their school setting, if that is causing stress, change
Mhm.
it. Okay. Keep an eye on your kids' emotions, keep an eye on your
Totally.
emotions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Jenny, when you started full-time homeschooling, that was that time that we used to meet and walk on the beach once a
Mm.
week. And our
Mhm.
boys, it was her younger boy and Wyatt, that was their late day to
Mhm.
start. We needed
Right.
that. We did.
Oh.
We
Oh,
needed each
yeah.
other.
Totally. Totally.
And we swam. We went and swam at the
Yeah.
pool in the morning with our nerdy
Yeah.
gear
With
on
our swim caps and
because
goggles.
we needed it. Yeah. And frankly, we really need to flesh out that time
Still,
now for us
we do.
too. So,
That's a
yeah,
good
we
point.
do. Let me go over those three
Mhm.
ways again. So, the first one is begin with relationship before rigor before academic rigor. That's what that means. Relationship rules. Okay. You want your child's heart. Number two, choose one must do per day. You can always build on that, but stick with that one must do until it feels easy to add something. And number three is build in emotional margin. Modify according to how you and your child are feeling. And so that is our podcast for today. The first one in January to help you have a gentle reset. Come back next week for more healing, hope, and help. For homeschool moms, I got to get all the H's in there. And if you need help before that, we are here with a community of support online, and we have a new way, a new, better way to support homeschool moms in 2026. Every month, we are having a content workshop, and we have expanded office hours so you can meet with us one on one more and get your specific questions answered. Go to thehomeschoolwell.com and click join here and find out more about our community and get in there with us so that you can be part of our workshops for our members and get yourself an office hour appointment with us. And we will see you next week for a whole new episode.
Yes.
All
All right. Thanks
right.
for joining us.
Bye
Bye.
bye.